Everyone, back tuning into today's video. We're going to have a look at the weather for the coming month and the next 8 to 10 days. In today's video, we have a look at the charts from CFS V2 for the coming month. We'll also have a look at the shorter range charts for sort of a week to 10 day period. And we'll have a look at some observations as well, because it's another very, very cool day across many parts of the country today. Again, feeling more like October than July. We'll have a look at a few observations in a second. But before we go on with that, just to say about the ads, there's links to articles on all pages. Use that Gaz, go and have a browse through widgets. Any articles that you're interested in, please click through. You guys go for read the article. Thanks very much for doing that. But your ads are most page, they open up in the content, and then they'll close back up again when you've watched them. Thanks for getting involved, and thanks for doing that. It's all helping to pay for the website. So we're going to start off with radar picture from weatheroutlook.com. Find a link to Weather Outlook on the links page, of course. And we've got some pretty wet weather up in the north. Many parts of Scotland, Northern Ireland, Northern England having outbreaks of showery rain. And these showery bursts are actually going a little bit further south than they did yesterday. So they are starting to run through into parts of North Wales and into the Midlands, into some parts of eastern England as well. The south east is still mainly dry, but even here, some of these showery bursts could get through. But it is mainly in the north, where it is a pretty wet and a pretty grim scene across many parts of the north. Now, here's today's observations from the website xcweather.co.uk. You can find the link to xcweather.co.uk on the links page. Just have a very, very quick look at the temperatures, and they are very, very grim for this time of year. Glasgow Airport, for instance, at just 12 degrees at gone midday. At the end of July. That is really cool. A few other places, Walcott in northwestern parts of England, coming out at just 10 degrees, 50 Fahrenheit. Dishforth coming out at 12 degrees. Going further south, Nottingham is at 15 degrees. And Coventry Airport, Cov, at 14 Celsius, 57 Fahrenheit at midday. On a day at the end of July. That is incredibly disappointing. Benson in Oxfordshire at 16 degrees. Heathrow, and remember, this is where we had the all-time July temperature record on the 1st of July. Heathrow today, or right now, is just at just 17 degrees, 63 Fahrenheit. On the 1st of July at Heathrow, we hit 36.7, I think, which is getting on for 100 Fahrenheit. So, amazing contrast between the start of the month and the end of the month in this July. And as I say, it is feeling very, very cool out there once again. So, will these cool conditions continue into August? Let's have a look at the CFS V2. These are 5 millibar heights broken down into weekly periods. These charts change on a daily basis, so this is just the latest sort of snapshot from the CFS V2. The first weekly period is the week that we're in right now, which is the 27th of July through to the 2nd of August. And what we find for this one is that we've got a deep trough of low pressure centred just to the east of the country, and that means that the jet stream is going like that. We're on the cool side of the jet. We've got a trough to the east. So that's why it's so cool and has been pretty unsettled. Not as unsettled as it was, still quite a bit of rain up in the north, but most of the rain's actually going off into Europe now. But it leaves us under a legacy of really cool air. We'll have a look at the temperature anomalies in a moment. Now, for the next week period, this is the 3rd to the 9th of August, the first week of August, we do get a change in the pattern. And what we see is that a ridge starts to build over Scandinavia and extending down into central parts of Europe, with this trough weakening and becoming placed out to the west. So what this does is it allows the flow to go more southerly. So it probably does turn things warmer. I wouldn't necessarily be running away with the idea that it'll get very hot, but it probably does turn things warmer through the first week of August. It should also turn things a bit drier as well. We will have a look at the temperature and precipitation anomalies in a second, but that does look a bit better through the first week of August. Does it last? No, it doesn't, because we go through to the 10th to the 16th of August. Look at this, it's placing the trough back in over the top of the country, sticking it right over the top of the UK, so that would turn things much more unsettled and significantly cooler again as we go through to the 10th to the 16th of August, unfortunately. And then we go through to the last week of these charts that we can go to. The fourth week, which is the 17th to the 23rd of August, it's still unsettled, not as bad probably as that third chart, but nevertheless the trough is still there. It's more centred to the northwest, the flow probably going rather like that. So again, it looks pretty unsettled, particularly in the north and west, probably on that one. A little bit better down in the south and southeast, but still generally quite cool and quite mixed up to 23rd of August. The temperature anomalies come out like this, and this is the week that we're in. This is for 27th to the 2nd of August, and look at this. You may not be able to make it out, but we've actually got the blue colours in there over the country or through the country. Blue colours on these charts indicated temperature anomalies of 3 to 4 degrees below average, so significantly cool for the time of the year across the country. We're not alone, many parts of Europe in those blue colours as well, so it is a cool scene through many parts of the continent, but doesn't really help if you're on the coast in the UK to know that other places are suffering. And overall it is a cold week for the time of year coming up. Now the next week period, this is when we start to get those hints of more southerly flows, sees the temperature anomaly improving a little bit. We're still coming out a bit below average, around a degree below average, but I think we're better. That's probably a bit pessimistic as well. I would suspect that we would actually have a slightly milder than average week through that first week of August, to be honest, but certainly signs of improvements there anyway through the first week of August. The next weekly period, though, this goes going from the 10th to the 16th of August, again goes below average, significantly so, around a 2 to 2.5 degrees below average as the anomaly there. And then the final weekly period going from the 17th through to the 23rd of August, again going significantly cooler than average. So pretty grim August coming up there on that particular run of the CFS V2. Be interested to see if it's a bit on the pessimistic side, could be, or whether it does end up as bad as that's suggesting. The precipitation anomaly for this week coming out near normal, so not too wet. And then the next week period, we've got those hints of southerly flows actually going a little bit drier than average. So that does look the best of it. The 3rd to the 9th of August, that does look the best period of the next 4 weeks coming up. With slightly warmer and drier conditions. The trough comes back though from the 10th to the 16th, so the rainfall goes up and goes above average once again. And then the final weekly period, near normal to perhaps hinting a slightly above average rainfall once more. Keep in mind, if you've got anything planned through these periods around the middle of August, say you're off on holiday, it won't be continuously horrible weather. There will be some decent days mixed in, I'm sure. When the sun comes out, because it's still August, it will feel reasonably warm. It's just that it looks unsettled on this particular run of the CFS, and generally cooler than average as well. This is how the temperature graph for the coming 6 weeks stacks up from website webweb.net. I'll link to webweb on the links page. This is for Birmingham, and not really a great deal to look at, to be honest. The temperatures are generally coming out cooler than average. We do get some warmer conditions, particularly here, which is through the first week of August. That's the 1st to the 6th. Just there, and yeah, we do hint at going above average briefly there, going up to around 25 degrees, but that soon cools off again. And really, you have to say that overall temperatures are somewhere between around 16 to 18 Celsius throughout much of August, so pretty cool time of it coming up. That's through central England, of course. If I have a look at the charts from westcentral.de, this is the GFS, and we see that we've got for Sunday a little bit of a ridge developing down to the southwest with low pressure out to west. So this does hint at those southerly flows that we saw on the CFS V2. Here comes the southerly through Monday as this low pressure is out to west. We've got a bit of a ridge to the east, pulling up warmer air through sunny, so that will lift temperatures probably sunny into Monday, into the mid-20s Celsius down in the south. Doesn't last. The low pressure runs through, cuts off that warm supply by trying to get through to Tuesday, and there goes the warmth quickly being pushed away. That could produce some thunder though, so have to watch out for that. Going through into middle of next week, this is Wednesday the 5th. Again, fairly warm conditions down in the south, more unsettled up to the north and west. And by the time we get through to day 10, which is Friday the 7th of August, it's all a little bit mixed really. We've got hints of low pressure to the southeast, across central parts of Europe, and to the northwest, and maybe some sort of ridge being through the country. We're probably turning it more unsettled though as we go through into the second week of August. I do think the first week of August will probably be the best of it through much of the coming month. That's how it's looking at the moment anyway. East WF again, very, very similar. There's that southerly coming up briefly for the start of next week, turning it warmer. That quickly gets cut off as the flow goes back into the Atlantic. Although we do get another warmer southerly shot later next week. This is day 10, Friday the 7th of August. Though we seem to get a bit of a thundery low coming up from the south with that one. You can see the warmth is there into the southeast of the country. I think it will quickly be swept away again by the air from the Atlantic. But the first week of August looks like it's going to warm up, and it will be a bit drier as well. So if you're fed up with this October autumnal type feeling, it does look as though things will feel a little bit more like summer as we go through the first week of August. But really quite a changeable and cool August being signalled overall by these models, and it's not a great outlook really for the final month of the summer. But remember, these charts are highly experimental. All long-range forecasting is experimental and not to be relied upon. And we're doing 5-day forecasts tomorrow, which will be shorter range with tried and tested models. So come back for that. That's all for now. Thanks for watching.